With the release of Shaddoll Genius and Shaddoll Hollow from Ghosts from the Past, Shaddoll's got two new main deck monsters that are very powerful support. But these main deck monsters also bring the utility of being different attributes, and that is perfect for the two Shaddoll fusion monsters that are Earth and Fire respectively, each matching up with Shaddoll Genius and Shaddoll Hollow. So, how good are these cards actually? So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the utility of some of these cards and why I think that they can actually have some potential in future Shaddoll builds, be it Shaddoll Dogmatic Invoked, Pure Shaddoll, Invoke Shaddoll, whatever. These definitely can still have a place in the Shaddoll deck, and I'm about to hopefully tell you guys why I think that. So, starting off with Shaddoll Shekhinaga, this one is probably more likely to be seen because of its Earth attribute and its interaction with the card like Shaddoll Schism. Since its Earth attribute, like I mentioned, it's very good for using Schism to send a Zodiac monster, which are Earth monsters, or the Blackluster Soldier Link, which can be very difficult to out. But before we go any further, why don't we just take a look at Shaddoll Shekhinaga's effect and see what it actually does. So to fusion summon it, it requires one Shaddoll monster and one Earth monster, like all the other Shaddoll fusions. And pretty much it reads, when a special summon monster activates its effect while you have a Shaddoll card in your hand, as a quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster, then send one Shaddoll card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn, and of course if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add one Shaddoll spell or trap back to your hand. So its effect actually offers a kind of negation effect for Shaddolls, where it actually negates the activation and destroys a monster while you have a Shaddoll card in your hand. And it's very important to note that you can discard cards like Shaddoll Core to get value or whatever, or just extra Shaddoll spells and traps, since it doesn't have to be a Shaddoll monster. But of course, if it is a Shaddoll monster, the effect to negate not only gets rid of your opponent's threat, but also triggers your Shaddoll effect, which can be very powerful. And like I mentioned before, of course, for Shaddoll Schism, it's very good attribute. Not only that, if you're playing a pure Shaddoll build, a card like Mathematician is also pretty common in those builds, and Mathematician is the Earth monster, meaning that Shaddoll Shekhinaga, you have more outlets to fuse with it in addition to Shaddoll Genius. You're not only using Shaddoll Genius to make Shaddoll Shekhinaga, you also use Mathematician to maybe dodge cards like Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence or something. But yeah, Shaddoll Shekhinaga overall adds a very nice disruption effect to Shaddolls, and it's very difficult to get over with its very big, beefy stat line of 2600 and 3k. So yeah, Shaddoll Shekhinaga definitely should not be slept on. You should be aware if you're playing a deck like Zodiacs or Blackluster Soldier Link in your extra deck. You should be aware that Shaddolls have the capabilities to summon Shekhinaga with Schism and just send it to the graveyard. So yeah, if anything, honestly, even if its effect wasn't like the best, the fact that you can the Schism interaction with Zodiac, which is one of the top meta decks right now, you prevent them from going to Dread and you prevent them from going to Zeus, might just be worth playing a one-of in your extra deck. So definitely do not sleep on this card. And in my personal opinion, Shaddoll Genius is probably going to be played more than Shaddoll Hollow, because Shaddoll Genius' effect seems to be more a better disruption effect than Shaddoll Hollow is. It can be used in more situations. So for that reason, expect Shekhinaga in future Shaddoll builds. But that's gonna take me to Shaddoll Grysta, the Fire Shaddoll monster, which requires one Shaddoll monster, one Fire monster, and it says when your opponent would special summon a monster or monsters while you have a Shaddoll card in your hand, as a quick effect, you can negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster, then send one Shaddoll card from your hand to the graveyard, and of course, you can only use this effect once per turn, and if it's sent to the graveyard, you add a Shaddoll spell or trap back. So Shaddoll Grysta has a very interesting effect where it's very Solemn Strike-esque, where it can negate the special summon, inherent summon of a monster or a summon that does not start a chain when it says with its main effect. And of course, like Shekhinaga, it requires you to send a Shaddoll card from your hand to the graveyard, but also like Shekhinaga, you can send monsters, spells, or traps to the graveyard. So as long as you have a Shaddoll resource in your hand to send to the graveyard, you're able to kind of put up this kind of a face-up Solemn Strike for your opponent, because they can't really commit to a extra deck monster like a Link summon or a Synchro summon or XYZ summon or whatever. And of course, if your opponent would like summon a big monster like Pankratops or whatever, you can just stop this with Shaddoll Grysta. And of course, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because Shaddoll Hollow is a fire monster, and of course, helping you make a fire monster with Shaddoll Grysta is really good. And with a card like Shaddoll Schism, you can use Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring from your graveyard, which is a very common fire monster that many decks play. you're able to use it from your graveyard, summon this. The downside of this, however, is there aren't too many good fire monsters in the meta to send off of Shaddoll Schism. So off the top of my head, maybe Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf or Evil Zardolka, but like that's about it. I can't really think of many more super good fire monsters in the meta right now, but you would be playing this for its effect to negate special summons. And like I said before, it's kind of like a face-up Solemn Strike, where your opponent knows, like, to deal with this, they probably have to put out a big monster on the board, but to put out a big monster, they usually have to go into their extra deck and commit to, like, a Synchro Summon or Link Summon or whatever. And this is just able to stop it if you have a Shaddoll card in your hand. But yeah. It's also very good because it adds another layer of utility to Shaddolls that didn't really have before. The ability to stop summons is actually a very powerful effect that not many decks have access to built into their monsters. Like, if you think about it, like, the best monsters right now are just negations. But if you can stop the summon of a monster from coming out in the first place, not only do you take out the potential interruption that your opponent's monster might give them, but also takes out the threat of the big body on the board that your opponent might have. But yeah, overall, I think Grysta is probably going to be played a little less than Shekhinaga, like I mentioned, because Hell Shaddoll Hollow is probably going to be played less than Shaddoll Genius. But even so, Grysta, definitely do not sleep on this card. If you're able to bring this out against even like a deck like Pendulums, you pretty much shut off their entire like deck mechanic, because of course Pendulum summoning does not start a chain. When they summon everything, you can just Grysta, send it all to the graveyard, which is just super powerful. But yeah, the only concerning thing about Grysta, it's not the biggest monster ever. It's 2450. It's less, being like 2500 or less in the meta is kind of concerning, because quite a few things can beat over it now. Even a card like Dante Milling 3 is able to beat over Grysta, although I don't know how often that would come up. But yeah, Grysta, if you're able to stick it on the board, it can be very powerful. So yeah, that's going to do it for my discussion of these two Shaddoll fusion monsters that are less commonly played than, like, of course, the core 3, which I call Apollo, Construct, and Winda. Those are like the really core Shaddoll fusion monsters. These ones could be like one of utility in your extra deck, depending if you play the Earth Shaddoll monster or if you play the Fire Shaddoll monster in your deck. These can definitely be good targets to use, summon off a Schism, or just fusion summon in general as powerful disruption effects for going first. Because now Shaddolls don't only have to rely on Winda as the floodgate, you're able to have negation, monster effect negation with Shekhinaga, or summon negation with Grysta. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the description below. What do you guys think of these cards? Do you think they'll be played? Do you think they're garbage? Let me know what you guys think. And with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know by leaving a like, commenting, subscribing, because it really helps keep me motivated to keep posting more videos like this. And with that, I will see you guys soon. Take care.